Hello everyone, welcome to the podcast. This podcast is an alpha and may be subject to change. This is episode 16 weeks of this podcast.
Oh boy!
Not being cancelled.
Woo.
Yeah boy! That's going back 4 months.
Move on quickly, move on quick.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Sad.
So, joining me today is Tef. Everyone else didn't show up. You know, it's my co-host, as always. There he is.
Here, keeping the throne warm for when it's mine.
He's just one day, one of these days. I'm okay we take no, you know, at least it's better than Zolto's if, you know. Could be worse.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. I mean, they've got their own channels to look after though, and you know, that's hard work on their part, uploading once a year.
Very hard work apparently, but hey. You know, what's there to say? But yeah, shall we talk a little bit about what we've been playing this week? Because I think we've got some stuff to talk about.
I think we do, and we can neatly push this all together into one conversation because we've been playing the same things, haven't we?
Shall we start with Fall Guys or shall we start with New World? I feel like New World's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, let's start with Fall Guys. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
So Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, good game.
A lot of
Good
fun.
game, good fun. Good fun.
I do have some issues with it.
Well, hit me.
There was just a rampant hacking problem in that game.
Yeah, seriously.
I've had the win stolen from me so many times. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like every final I've been in, there's a hacker. I don't know if I've just been really unlucky or it's the time that I play. But there's just always a hacker.
I've seen a few, not always, but I've certainly seen a few.
Yeah. So I mean I was playing pretty late one night with an old friend, and like I had like 7 games in a row of hackers, and I just like you'd get to the final and it was like there's the new, I don't know if it's new, the like golden bar one where you're gonna jump over and like the platforms fall, but he was just, you know, he was just jumping over the whole thing over and over and just like floating there. And then you've got Hexagon where they just float, and then also Fall Mountain, they just it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna fly on over to the crown. They just fly there and take it right in front of everyone. I even had one on in a team game in Hoopsie Doopsie. Luckily he was on my team, so he was just flying around the map, flying through all the hoops. But it's a rampant problem, it seems. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no anti-cheat at all, I believe.
Yeah. So literally everyone is cheating, and I feel like it should be really easy. There should be a really easy way to report these people, because it's just numbers. They've all got their own number, so you should be. I don't see a report button anywhere though. That's the thing. I don't think there is one. No. Yeah,
it really needs to be sorted out.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Nothing at all.
Maybe that'll come in season 2, which. I mean, we could talk about that now or a little later, but
I mean, yeah, it kind of comes into this, doesn't it? I mean, season 2 is 2 months away anyway. It's October, so we need it before then. Really, it needs to be implemented ASAP, honestly, or it's going to kill the game on PC because it is awful. Like, if you're serious about getting crowns, you just can't get them. There's so many problems with getting crowns in general. You've got that. Like, I've seen lots of no clippers. I've seen people just flying straight to the finish line on anything that's a race.
Yeah, that's a lot of what I've seen.
Fall Mountain's just terribly balanced and glitchy anyway. I've seen situations where people have grabbed the crown and it hasn't registered, and they've just like pulled themselves up on top of the crown and it's not registered.
So if you dive, you can't actually grab the crown. That's a thing I found out. So if you dive, you'll just fall and you just end up not getting the crown.
No, but what I mean is there's people who've grabbed it, like, and they're actually hanging onto it and it doesn't register.
Oh. Yeah, you can also tie in Fall Mountain as well. I don't know if you knew this, but if 2 people grab the crown at the same time, it'll show one winner, but the other person will get a crown as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, leave one person out.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre. I don't know. It's a weird one. I feel like out of all the final games, like Hexagon is probably the best one. That feels like the most skill.
That's very skill based, isn't it?
Yeah. People,
I've
I
only had
mean,
that once though. I always get full mountain, me. Always.
yeah, I've
I've
had
only
so
had
many
one
full
hexagon.
mounts. I think the only time we had hexagon was when we played together, didn't we?
You got it quite a few times, but I never
Yeah.
got that
Oh
far
yeah, you
when I
never
was
got
playing
there,
with
did
you.
you? But yeah,
Every time I've gotten there to the last round, it's always been full mountain, except for one time today when I got to hexagon.
and hexagon takes it takes some practice. You gotta get a few goes of that
Mm.
because there's a lot to it. That one is definitely the most skill based and probably my favorite out of like the last levels. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
and out of the races, well, it's all about whirligig. Whirligig's definitely my favorite race.
I figured out now though, and so has almost everybody else at this point. But whirligig is really easy to choose because you just walk along the left hand side. Because they all rotate anti-clockwise. So if you walk along the left-hand side, you're more likely to just get knocked slightly to the right and still be on the path.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
everyone's
I've
caught
noticed
onto
that as
that now.
well. Yeah.
Everyone's got onto that. And if you do that, like this one simple trick, doctors hate it, but it gets you through most of the time. It really does.
Yeah, I just hope there's a lot more levels. I don't know if in season 2 they're gonna keep the old map pool as well, or if they're just gonna
Yeah, they've not made that
completely.
clear, actually.
Yeah, because it looks like it's got a
I think they
whole
will.
medieval theme to it instead, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get the feeling that they'll keep the popular ones in the pool and sort of phase out the ones that aren't popular because they're already phasing out the ones that aren't popular. They already had
Yeah,
that update which made team games a lot less common.
yeah.
And
I've
there are
barely had
certain
any team
games you just hardly
games.
ever see. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's kind of a shame because I
Um,
do like some of the team games. I don't know if it's just. I guess it's because I've not played them as much. I think some of them are
yeah,
very good. Like Jinxed seems pretty boring.
I always get jinxed and I can't stand jinxed. I don't like jinxed and I don't like tail tag because the latency on tail tag is just awful. Like
Yeah,
people grab your tail from like half a mile away, and when you're right on top of people, you can hit right trigger and nothing happens, and it's just infuriating. It's not fun because it doesn't feel like it's that thing where it feels like the game is cheating you, and it's not
yeah,
fun. But like the ones where you got to roll the ball to the end, I think that one's really fun, and like the
yeah.
football one's really fun, and like all the ones where you've got to get balls into like your own pocket are
I
fun.
think
But
Egg
then,
Scramble is a fun one as well. We gotta
yeah,
get all the
yeah,
eggs. Yeah,
I think the problem with all of them is that one team always gets really far ahead, and I think that's why people complain and say they don't like it because one team always gets trounced. And it's obviously not your fault if the rest of your team is crap.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that is definitely one because you do find, especially when there's 3 teams, the one team that's behind just gets picked on by the other 2 teams. The other 2 teams are like, okay, I see, and they all just dive in on that
yeah,
one team, which is
but then on
fun
the
when
other
it's not
hand, you
happening to
shouldn't.
you.
I mean, it is, yeah. But then on the other hand, anyway, you shouldn't be playing this game to win. It's not that kind of game.
No,
Like it's clearly not. It's not exactly League of Legends. You can get screwed over by dodgy physics or someone
yeah,
grabbing you anyway. It's kind of the whole point. It's a party game.
yeah. It's. I want more variety in games. You know, I want them to have more like Mario Party style stuff. Maybe I don't know. I feel like it's got a lot of races, which is good. I like the races; they're fun.
Mm.
But add a bit more to it. I don't know, like something like Memory Match, but more interesting. You know?
Yeah, yeah. There are little bits of Mario Party in there here and there, but I agree that it would benefit from more Mario Party style minigames. Definitely.
Yeah, or some like Mario Party WarioWare esque stuff. You know? I feel like
Mm.
there's some just crazy stuff they can do with the format if they put some work into it. And hopefully we'll see some
Definitely.
good stuff in season 2. I've not really watched any of the season 2 trailer stuff. I just know I've heard it's medieval themed. Heard there's a new map pool, so I'm interested to see.
Mm.
But
I just really hope that there's like a team game where both teams have to get into a giant catapult and just launch themselves and try and get someone over the wall, be the first on either side of the wall.
that'd be pretty great. I feel like you need some sort of jousting one as well. That'd also
Oh,
be good.
definitely.
Like I was saying, like gladiators where they're both just on a pole, just whacking each other, trying to knock each other off.
Yeah, definitely.
Something like that'd be really, really fun.
Like like a buck and bronco rodeo sort of situation where you're on a horse and you're just trying to hold on as long as you can.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of potential for just wacky stuff like that.
Definitely.
Because it's one of those games that you can just jump into real quick. And I feel like making the maps, it shouldn't take too much time, you know, if they're just making fun little game
Mm.
modes. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it.
And they got 2 months, so we'll have to see what they can whip together in 2 months. Does seem like you said, it seems like actually quite a lot of time to develop these maps, which are quite small.
Yeah.
I know they're developing a lot of cosmetics as well.
Yeah, they got a lot of cosmetics in the game. I've not even seen most of them so far, but they seem to rotate them in the shop, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah. I mean, is there anything else we want to say on Fall Guys? Because I feel like there's not much other than the rampant hacking problem in the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's such a great casual game. Like you said, that you can just jump in and play it so easily, and I do think that's brilliant. Like I've seen my resident casual gamers been jumping in and playing it and having a whale of a time.
Yeah, it's one of those games that
And then you pulled right through the whirly gig.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I think we had some internet issues there.
Sorry, I
You like
lost you a
cut
bit
out for
there.
a moment. Yeah,
Mm.
but it's one of those games that where a lot of people have just jumped on, and it's become a big thing. So it's one of those games that's brought people together, kind of like Animal Crossing did as well,
Yeah,
which is a good
definitely.
thing this year. You know.
100%. Yeah.
So more of that. It's the one of the positive things to come out of this year. So hopefully season 2 we'll get even more cool stuff, and it'll keep people interested. Because I feel like if they're not quick enough, I think the game could also die pretty quickly.
Yes, definitely. They got to be careful about that. I was surprised they were waiting 2 months before a season two, because that
Yeah,
seems like a long time. Actually, when the game has so little content right now.
yeah, because you go through the content in this game really fast, and if they don't
Hmm.
start putting stuff in, like I'm hoping maybe they throw in a few more game modes before season 2. I think that'd be smart if they just keep adding stuff before
Definitely.
then, because otherwise it is gonna die pretty quickly. It's one of those things where a lot of people have just jumped on right now, and they're all on the hype, the Fall Guys hype, but that could fall very quickly. But yeah, Fall Guys, a lot of fun, good game.
Fuck.
Would recommend if you just want to hang out with friends and mess about. So let's talk about something even more new, something that
Mm.
isn't out yet. Let's talk about a whole new world.
Oh, it's a whole new world. We've been playing a lot of this.
We have been
You
playing.
especially. I
Yeah, I've
think
been
I've
playing a lot
clocked
of New
about
World.
9 hours. I imagine you've got about 20 at least at this point.
I've got more than 24.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm putting together like a lot of videos for it as well. So I've got a lot recorded. I'm just spending as much time as possible with this game before I actually just stop spewing it all out. So until then,
Pretty cool.
I'm getting as much time with the game as possible because it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's like I don't even know where to start with this game. There's so much to it. It
There's a lot to talk about.
feels very fresh compared to most MMOs right now. It's taken elements from so many different MMOs, and then there's like it's taken the combat style is kind of like Dark Souls. It's definitely a lot faster than Dark Souls, and it's not as punishing.
Hmm.
I imagine maybe later on in the game it's probably a bit more punishing if you get hit and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot to the game, and it feels very immersive.
Definitely.
It feels like you could just play it just like an RPG, if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I do think you could. It does feel more immersive than your standard RPG, MMO does really. Like it feels more like you're playing something along the lines of The Witcher for certain, or like Elder Scrolls. It really
Yeah, it
pulls you
definitely
into
feels
the
more like
world.
you're playing Skyrim or something, just wandering about the world.
Definitely.
Because it gives you all these skills, all the trade skills as well, which there's no like labor system or anything, so you're not capped by it. You can just go in and you can just do as much crafting as you want. And
Hmm.
then resources are all located in places where you'd expect them to be. I've still not found oil though, even though apparently it's in a marsh. Looked around the marsh, I've just not been able to find it.
It is hard to find some of the resource nodes. I struggle to spot iron, because it's usually just in the middle of a bush and it looks like any other boulder. I always miss it.
Uh,
That might just
I've
be
got,
me.
yeah, iron is actually it's pretty common. If you look at it in
Yeah, I
Highlands,
know it is.
yeah,
I just can't spot it, because it doesn't stand out. But it's one of those games where everything's kind of grayish brown, so nothing
yeah,
pops, which is one downside to the art style.
I've gotten to the point where it definitely pops out for me because it's like There's like it's like little mounds of brown that you go up to, but I also have the tracking for it as well. So when you hit level, it's like level 20 or 25, maybe even 40, you get tracking for iron ore. So anytime you're going around and you're close to iron ore, it'll pop up on your compass as a little rock.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
then
good.
you can just go on over to it and mine it from there. And they all seem to respawn in the same place, I've noticed. So you can kind of do a node run and go. So in Everfall, I had this run where I'd go around, I'd collect hide from the wolves in this one area, and then there was like 3 or 4 nodes of iron that I'd collect, and then I'd loop back around to town. And I'd just keep doing that. So it was a nice little run, and it's really relaxing, nice and chill, you know?
Mm.
I'm
It
having
is
a,
a very chill game, at least at this
yeah.
point. I know we're early on. I'm sure it's not like that later.
Yeah, it is a really good time. I don't know, I feel very relaxed playing it, and I suppose later on it is going to get a lot crazier. Like, I'm doing some of the corruptions. There's one corruption in particular called, like, a corrupted grove. That is, really, really weird to do. Like, I don't know how people are doing it on their own. Because it says it's, like, 1 to 2 players, and it's only level 25. But I went in, and it's this, so what it is, it's a tendril in the middle that's, like, just, you know, swimming about. And it sends a bunch of mobs at you as well. So you deal with the mobs. But as you're dealing with that, the tendril also goes into the ground and then comes up underneath you over and over again and whacks you. And I've tried dodging out of the way of it, but I don't think my dodge is good enough for it, because I just keep getting hit by it. And then once it hits me once, I just get stun locked and I'm done.
Oh man, that sounds
Yeah.
like a nightmare. And it'll just appear anywhere beneath you.
Yeah, so it'll just keep appearing. You've got like a moment to get out of it, but my dodge is not going far enough whenever I use it. I don't know if it's just because I'm in too heavy a set of armor, because it has the Dark Souls thing where the heavier your armor is, the slower your dodge is. So it could be that. Like, if I had like really light armor, I could probably quite easily get out the way of it. But then when you try and go right for the tendril in the middle, it just starts whacking you when you're close and keeps knocking you down. I had that as well. And on top of that, you have the corruption timer ticking away.
Of course. I guess there must be some sort of strategy that we're missing there, but
Yeah, probably.
yeah, that sounds like a pain. And the problem with the armor system is funny. I've noticed that most people are sticking to light armor. I have noticed that, but the way that the game works is like heavy armor protects you from physical damage, and light armor protects you from magical damage. Um, so I think it seems practical to actually have a set of both on you at all
Yeah.
times, just in case of, which is what I've started doing now, so I can swap into light armor if I'm fighting the ancients, because they do a lot of spell casting. But I've never seen that before. I don't know if that's in any other MMO that you've played.
Yeah, I
I know
mean,
it kind of leans into the whole stereotype of mages using light armor, but I've never seen it so laid out, so kind of clearly and blatantly before, that this is how the system works.
Arcade does it as well. There's a few MMOs that do this, and it's, especially with like older MMOs, it was a very common thing to have different sets of armor for different encounters. So even in like classic WoW, you'd need like certain sets of gear with resistances to certain raids. So you'd need like fire resistance and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But this is more simplistic than that, though, isn't it? Like, it's not just resistances or certain buffs. It's funny how every armor has 2 armor ratings, because it's got its gear score, but then that's broken down into 2 separate armor ratings, isn't it?
yeah,
So it makes it very clear that you should really have 2 sets of armor, um, depending on the situation you're in.
yeah. There is also different resistances you can get as perks on the armor as well. On top of that,
Some
so
of them are really good.
yeah, so you could maybe even go even more in depth and have several sets of different types on top of that. It has a lot of stuff like that, like a lot of preparation for different fights. Like, you've got coatings that you can coat your weapons with for like, there's like a corruption one that deals more damage to the corrupted. There's one for ancients as well, and there's one for beasts. So it's a very it very much reminds me of like, I don't know, The Witcher or something. I'm trying to think of MMOs that have done it before. I guess there are MMOs that have done stuff like that, but I just can't think of it. Like, WoW didn't really do it. Like, I guess Rogues had cones, but wasn't really a thing. But like, specific counters for different mobs. It reminds me of like in The Witcher, where before every encounter you had to sit down, you had to drink your potions, you had to coat your weapon with what you wanted and stuff, which is cool. I like the preparation going into fights. I feel like older MMOs probably did that as well. I get the feeling that was probably a thing, but I didn't really play any of the, I'm trying to, it's probably like Everfall or something, did it? Not Everfall.
EverQuest.
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 Everfall
Yeah, I
is
mean, I think
one of the
RuneScape's the
reasons.
oldest either. Yeah, I know. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, RuneScape's probably the oldest MMO that we've played, isn't it? I don't think that did it, but I never played that to a high level, to be fair. So,
Uh,
I don't know. Hmm.
yeah, I'm trying to think what other MMOs I played. Fantasy. I played some Fantasy Star Online. I played RuneScape. WoW, Black Desert. Played a bit of Terra at one point as well. I played a lot, but I just can't. I can't think of one that's done something like that before. So it's nice to see all these systems come together, and I guess it definitely adds to the immersion that there's all these little details in the world, you know. But
It definitely has like an old school old school style to it, doesn't it? And like you said, there's a kind of slowness and weight to the combat and the way you approach encounters that does feel really old fashioned, and I really like that. Like I don't know whether you've been doing it, but I've gotten into the habit when I'm about to go into one of the like enemy camps to do a quest, I'll set up a campsite outside as like a little base of operations, because obviously that creates a sort of respawn point for you anyway, so it saves you
yeah,
doing the long run back if you do die. But like that's there, and then it means I can sort of run in, and if I get into any encounters where I get overwhelmed, or sometimes you can get backed into a corner by like 3 enemies, and you just kind of
yeah,
screwed at that point. And like then I can always run back to the camp and rest up. So it's kind of
mm,
like it makes a little home base for you to come back, and you can sort of recoup and think about your gear or your weapons, like what
yeah,
went wrong with that encounter, so that you can go back in better prepared. And I love that.
yeah. And you can
That's
craft stuff there
definitely
as
been
well.
missing. Yeah,
Like
yeah, you can.
if you need some
Ability to
extra
craft things.
rations or some extra arrows or something, you can craft them up there as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And the higher level you get, the better your camp gets. So I think
Mm.
like every 10 levels or something, you get like a different sort of camp. So I think at level 30, you actually get like a proper tent.
Yeah, you get
That
a
other
proper
thing
tent,
you've
that's
got.
right. But then it costs more resources. So, depending on how many resources you have, you might just end up throwing down a lesser camp. Or like you might not want to waste your resources
I
on a big
actually
camp
don't know if it
for
costs
something
more. I'm not
smaller.
sure.
It does, because you like you put the camp down, and it's always a level 1 camp, and then you have to hold down E again to upgrade it to a level 2,
Oh, okay.
and then so on and so forth. So it costs more each time. So
But I've not
if it's
actually.
a smaller encounter, you can kind of choose to have a smaller camp.
Yeah, I've not actually used the camps a lot myself personally, because I've just been running
Yeah.
around, and I've gotten to the point where I'm feeling pretty strong and confident because I've been using the hatchet a lot, and the hatchet's really strong,
Yeah,
especially
it does sound really overpowered.
yeah, I do have like this like fire damage axe as well, so it does a bunch of fire damage on top of the physical damage. So I've just been swinging that, and every time I kill something, I get 20% of my health back, which is really good. So I don't even like need to worry about dodging unless it's a dire situation. But I do dodge
That's
every
fair
now
enough.
and then. But most of the time I'm just like mash left click as I murder a guy.
Well, for us lesser mortals, I've got camps anyway. I mean, I've not actually died. I've not died once yet. But I think that is largely because I've got the camp, and I will just run back to it if
Yeah.
I need to just heal up, because it heals a hell of a lot faster than waiting for your consumables to heal you up. So
Yeah, the only times I've died is really when I get caught in a corner and I can't move past the mobs because they block you
yeah,
and you have too many
that's
on
the
you.
danger, isn't it? That's where you get really screwed up. I think
Yeah.
that's why every weapon has a crowd control maneuver that will knock them back, but depending on the weapon that you've got, some of them don't do very well. Like the
I don't.
sword and shield knock them back like 2 steps, so it's not really enough
Yeah,
most
the
of the time.
hatchet doesn't have one of those, I don't think.
No, yeah, you're stuck then.
Yeah, there's a few weapons that don't have stuff like that, so I feel like the big one is the warhammer can knock them back. Like if you got a
Yeah,
warhammer,
yeah,
you're good.
that really knocks them far. I
Yeah,
know. I don't know about the bow, but I know the musket. If they get up close and personal, you can melee them, and that knocks them back a few steps.
yeah, you can do that. You can give them a little bash, and you can do that with the bow as well.
Right. Yeah.
But
So
it doesn't really work with the like sword or the hatchet or stuff like that. You can't really knock them back like that. you've got like the shield bash you can hit them with and stuff.
Mm.
But other than that, you can't. I feel like the bow and musket are more effective for knocking them back because you just whack them with the butt of the musket and they fall back a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but if you're holding the sword, then you're gonna have a shield on you. The hatchet, you can't carry a shield with the hatchet, can you?
No,
You said you couldn't? Yeah,
no.
so, maybe you might just be screwed with the hatchet. Maybe that's maybe that's something they've done to balance it out, considering the hatchet's, like, faster and more powerful as an attacking weapon. Maybe they've kinda lowered the defensive abilities of it to balance that out a
Yeah.
bit.
I think once I get the ability where it's like, you're unkillable while you're berserk, I'll be okay.
Yeah,
Won't be a problem at
probably.
that point.
I need to get me a hatchet, it sounds so good.
Yeah. I mean, you said you had one in one of your sheds, but you just left it, I get. Was that in First Light?
I left it in first light, I'm not walking all the way back there.
Yeah. That's the really cool thing about it. Like, it feels like a journey whenever you go to another province in the game. Like,
Definitely, yeah, it's a real world.
yeah. I mean, the way talk about, like, people were talking about, like, having mounts in the game and having, like, slow-moving mounts, maybe. Like, we spoke about, like, caravans would be interesting. Like, I think there's
Yeah.
potential for that. Like, if they had caravans to, like, just to move bank resources, and maybe you can sit on them as well and guard them.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe it travels a little faster and stuff like that. But I think that would be a cool thing to add into the world. Maybe they will, because this preview is, like, half the game's not even in here, from what I understand. Half the weapons are not in there, because there's supposed to be a great sword and stuff as well. There's more weapons. I wish there was dual wielding. I feel like dual wielding has a lot of potential to be really fun to use, like, mechanically in this game, if they wanted to.
I could see them implementing that, especially
Yeah.
with the hatchet.
Yeah, because it feels like, instead of, like, having your shield, maybe left click is, like, moving your left weapon and right click is your right weapon or something.
That would be cool.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
if you press them both at the same time, it, like, does a block or a parry of some kind. And it has to rely on parries. And that's, like, the trade-off for being faster.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think how grounded and immersive the world is probably its greatest strength. Like, I've not seen anything like that since World of Warcraft. Um,
Yeah.
and I think if I think they do need to bring in some form of fast travel. Uh, that's not what they've got at the moment. Because at the moment, like, you can teleport and it's really expensive. And I think it makes more sense to do what World of Warcraft always did and have something that's cheap or free, but slow moving. And it's built into the world as well. So, like the way I always thought WoW had it down with the Zeppelins and the ships, and
Yeah.
the flying mounts taxi service, like, because it was built into the world and it was immersive and it wasn't instant. Um,
Mm.
and it, like, with the I can't remember what was it called. What they call flight paths.
Yeah,
Those
flight
little, like,
paths.
taxis. Yeah, that's yeah. They were so clever because you'd fly over the world and you'd get a sense of the actual world around you, and it just made the whole thing feel much more, like, real. And I think an
Yeah.
MMO needs that, honestly.
Meanwhile, they were just sort of hiding the parts of the world that just had nothing in it over the mountains and
Yeah.
stuff. They were very carefully managed, those flight paths.
Mm.
Which, it was cool. It was very well done. But, I think it does need something like that. I am okay with the fast travel system in the game because it's expensive to fast travel. And the further away
Mm.
you are from a province, the more it costs. Now, I do think maybe at endgame it's probably not going to be as big of an inconvenience. But I'm not sure. I'll have to see when I actually get there. But yeah, the map is also going to be even bigger. Because, as you noticed, there's parts of the map where you can see that you can't currently go to. And there's been rumors that it's what we're seeing so far is only 20% of the map, which I find
My
hard to
God.
believe because
Mm.
it's really big already. So if that's just 20%, what's the actual map going to look like,
I don't think it'll be quite that big, but I do think it'll be huge. I think it needs to be huge because if it's not, then you run the risk of guilds just monopolizing. Like, I showed you earlier, didn't I? Since we played last night, our faction has taken over almost all of the world on our server. The
Yeah.
other factions have one zone each, and we've got all the other ones.
I think I do have a few issues with the faction system in that game as well. I was actually
Mm.
going to do a whole video on it, but the way the factions work in the game, there's 3 different factions you can choose from. And there's no way of telling which faction has the most people. You can maybe check the map to see which one's most dominant. but you don't get percentages to see, and it doesn't lock off a certain faction if there's too many people in there, which
Mm.
I could see that being a problem if they did, but I feel like you should know going in which faction is dominant. I feel like
Mm.
that there needs to be some sort of balance for that. But again, maybe when the map is bigger, they'll have more zones and people have more incentive to join different factions. I'm not
Yeah,
entirely sure.
they'll have to find some way to encourage people to mix it up, certainly, because we are already seeing a problem with dominance. Luckily, we're on the winning side, but it is definitely
Yeah,
still a problem.
even so, I feel like whenever I've tried to go out in PvP, I've never seen any of my faction with PvP enabled. I've just seen a big group of syndicate running towards me, and I'm like, okay, well,
Well, they're all when I was on the earlier today, they were all launching huge attacks because they were just desperate to claw back some territory. That's all. Since they all only had one province each, besides, well,
oh,
the other two had one province each, so they were launching wars left, right, and center, trying to get some more territory back.
yeah, I'm like, I feel like they should be able to get it back if because the idea is if you spread, if you get too much land, you start to spread yourself thin. So
Mm.
when they actually attack several places at once, you can't defend at all. So I guess that's the idea behind the balance with that. But
Yeah,
again,
but then we've already seen that you can easily get around that because we've seen there's one company
yeah.
on our server, isn't
Oh,
there, where the 50-man limit by just splitting it into two separate
yeah.
companies that are
Oh, Tef's cutting out. Losing Tef. Oh no. Oh,
Hello, am I back?
you're back.
Gotta love the way my upload just absolutely cacks itself occasionally.
Yeah, on the day where I've got probably the best upload out of all of us for once.
Oh, here we go. He's bragging now. He's got new internet ISP.
Yeah, it feels good. I'm probably never gonna lag on stream again until I get throttled, and then it'll all happen.
Probably next week.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it while it lasts. Then I'll be back to crying about it all the time. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else there is to talk about New World. There's a lot. There's a lot in the game.
So much.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on your toes too much because I know you've got material planned.
Yeah, I've got quite a few videos on the way. I'm gonna just do one on like all the systems in the game, I think, and talk about it all.
Hmm.
Because again, I think a lot of my YouTube viewers will probably enjoy that stuff. I know some of them came over to Twitch and said they've been watching the New World VODs, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Because I want to play a lot more New World. I think it'll be a lot of good fun. And I've like some people I spoke to that are like they want to jump on an MMO and like this seems like the big one to them. This is a person that hasn't
Hmm.
played an MMO in a while, so yeah, it's I don't know how it's gonna go when it actually launches. We'll have to see.
Well, it's got 6 months, haven't we? And it was originally the original release date was this month, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
it's interesting actually. It kind of looks like they could have released it this month, and it probably would have been okay. But I'm glad that they pushed it back 6 months because it's gonna be better, and I can't
yeah.
can't wait to see what they do with it
'Cause, I'm
because it's far from
hoping.
perfect.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're
We
spending
haven't
a lot
really.
of time focusing on endgame. I feel like they need
Hmm.
more endgame content. I've not seen the endgame content yet, but I feel like it's gonna be very PvP focused, and I think they need
Yeah.
something for everyone, ideally.
To be fair, I suspect they're hiding the endgame content from us. I don't. It's probably more done than we think it is because you can't really access it,
Yeah,
can you, in the preview? Um, yeah, I know what you mean. No, it's definitely PvP focused. It's definitely more of a Black Desert slash Arcade type of RPG more so than like a WoW or Guild Wars because there doesn't seem to be any raids either, from what we know. Um,
yeah. I mean, we don't know how much they're hiding. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, yeah,
they could just
that's
come
true.
out when it actually comes out and be like, "Look at all this content we've got." Remember that preview you played? That was nothing.
That was
Welcome,
nothing.
welcome to the real world.
Oh, that'd be the dream.
I
Interesting to
re-
see if they put raids in or not though, because raids are like not as big in MMOs as they used to be, are they? Because as from what I've heard, I've never played it, but I've heard that there's like no raids in Black Desert.
yeah. So a lot of these. it's a lot of Eastern MMOs tend to have more of a focus on sandbox worlds and PvP more so than over in the West, where we have a lot of PvE content and it's mostly focused on raids and raid progression, you know, which I guess is probably a smart thing to do because WoW is just, you know, it's that's it. Yeah. If you're gonna play a game where you want to do raids and stuff, WoW is the place to go for it. And I think most MMOs can't, like, no one's gonna kill WoW. WoW's gonna kill itself. You know, they can't compete with it. So they might as well do something slightly different. They I don't know. I hope there's dungeons of some kind that they implement. I know maybe it'll be similar to Ashes, because I know Ashes is gonna have dungeons, but they'll be like open world dungeons. So you'll head in and it'll be just like a dungeon zone that you can go through. Stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I feel like there's so much potential for more stuff they can put in. And I'm hoping they're just hiding a ton from us. You know, I can't wait till the game comes out so I can get my hands on a greatsword. I feel like I'm gonna go all out greatsword. That's gonna be my weapon of choice.
Yeah, I do think that they're hiding quite a lot. I mean, I can't wait to see what the proper towns look like, because you can sort of tell from the preview that the towns that we're seeing, which look awful to be fair, they all look exactly the same, and they're all kind of colonies, like sort of very early colonial wooden stake fence colony towns. But you can sort of tell that they aren't going to be all the towns, because it's the fact that they're called hamlets, which is implying that there are bigger
Yeah.
towns. Um, so I'm interested to see how that goes. I don't know whether it's going to be that other parts of the world will have bigger towns, or whether companies will be able to build on the towns and make them more advanced, or what.
Yeah.
Because there's not
So
much in terms of faction and company stuff yet either. So I feel like there's got to be more to that than what we're
mm,
seeing.
so yeah, from what I've seen, the towns do look a little different later on. Like in the marsh, I mentioned this, but in I forgot what's it called, the area. The marsh area next to Brightwood, whatever that area there, it's more like a swamp, and it's like a a rundown town, and everything looks really rickety and messed up, and it's got like very it's got like country sort of swamp music playing when you're in there as well.
Oh,
So
yeah, like some towns and zones do have like slightly different vibes, but they're all still small towns, aren't they? Which is the
yeah,
point I was making more so.
they are all small towns. I don't know if they'll change that. Honestly, I'm not sure. We'll have to say. Maybe when the game actually comes out, it'll be like, hey, these towns get upgraded over time, or maybe further in the map there's then capital provinces or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure, because again, the concept of the game is, you colonize new land.
Colonize.
Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't say that.
I know what you mean, but at the same time, it is a sandbox MMO, and I feel like you can't have all this focus on factions and companies and governance without having the end game be an upgraded town, surely.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the individual workbenches that they upgrade, so maybe they've got like the full town upgrade locked off or something, and we're gonna see even more tiers of gear that gets unlocked when you open up. So maybe you get like a level 5 forge or something. I don't know what the highest level forge is, but it just upgrades, and I don't know what they do with it. Maybe more quests open up in that area, so you can do even more in that province.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the quests? I feel like we should
Yeah,
probably talk about the
we
quests.
probably should talk about the quests.
They're pretty atrocious, really, aren't they?
Yeah, the quests in the preview so far are pretty terrible. There's like 3 or 4 different types of quests.
I'd say 2 or 3.
Well, I've had a few different ones so far. So I've had the ones where it's just like kill a bunch of mobs, search chests. There's one where it's like I've had one where it's like keep killing mobs until they drop a specific item.
Yeah, I had one of them today, actually. That barely counts as a different type of that's kind of the same thing dressed up in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and then I had one where it was like mine these veins until you get glowing gore, which
Okay, that's a difference.
yeah,
A bit tedious, but at least it's different.
it was very tedious. It was a nightmare. But there was also that, and I'm trying to think which other ones there was. I feel like there was one more type that I can't think of.
You were talking about corruptions, but I'd count them more as emergent
They're
events rather
events,
than
yeah.
quests. Yeah.
They're definitely more events than quests. There was also like the PvP quests that are like there's like delivery ones to go to different towns and deliver stuff, and then there's patrol ones which patrol a certain area for a certain amount of time. But if you die, you fail the quest. When it's a PvP flagged one. But there's like a PvE one for factions and there's also a PvP one, so it depends which one you go down. But I've only seen the patrol one, and I think you saw the delivery one for a quest that wasn't PvP enabled, didn't you as well?
That's right. Yeah. So I got a PVE delivery quest.
Yeah.
Which yeah, it's just exactly the same thing, except you didn't have to put a PvP flag on. I guess maybe that was just because I was such a low level, and it was asking me to deliver it to a high level area. So there was enough of a PVE challenge there anyway. So maybe that's why it gave that to me. But like obviously, if you were a high level guy, that would be a kind of stupidly easy quest to do.
Yeah. I don't know. Was a bit of a. It had a timer though, didn't it? And it was a bit of a distance.
Yeah, it did.
Uh,
It was the other side of the map. It was the opposite end of the preview map.
mm,
And I was going from a starter zone to like one of the highest level zones, and it was
yeah.
timed, so I really would have had to pelt it.
Yeah. Other than that, I did have one where it was like gather, a bunch of stone bricks. There's like individual ones for towns, so I don't know if you've done any of them, but when you go to the town board, there's projects that you can do.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
it's like, it'll be like hunt free rabbits, or there'll be collect a certain amount of resources to bring back. So there's stuff like that to upgrade different parts of the town on top. But the faction quests are mostly to unlock the faction specific gear. So I don't know if you've looked at any other gear, but to unlock it, you need to get like a certain amount of tokens. So I think the first unlock is 1,000 tokens. You unlock the first rank of gear, which is all level 20 gear. And it's like 2,500 for the next rank, and that's all like level 30 gear. And it keeps going up all the way to 50, which makes me assume 50 is the cap, but I don't even know. Like,
Might just be the preview cap,
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, if you remember, I actually I've seen some of that, but I've not seen the faction gear properly because I took a load of faction quests, completed them all, and then before I turned them in at First Light, I left First Light and wandered over to the other side of the map, and now I refuse to go back. So I've got, yeah, I never turned those in, but I've got plenty of faction quests to turn in next time I'm in First Light.
Yeah, I find them interesting. I've leveled up once to, I think you go in ranks, and I think the first one's like Marshal or Groundbreaker or something. It's something like that, so I want to try and mess around with that a bit more and see what the gear's like in there, but I don't know how much. I'm not going to have a lot of time, am I? I've only got like 4 or 5 days left with the preview. So I'm going to just have to spend a ton of time with it and see where I end up.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm hoping quests are changed. Go on.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, this is just something that they can start in the next 6 months. I was just going to say, I heard somewhere that now that you've pre-ordered it, I think there's going to be more previews along the way before the release, so you might get more chances to play it before it releases.
Oh, more content for me to to put out.
I have to look into that. I heard about that somewhere, but obviously, if I search New World Preview, I just get the I just get this preview. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll hopefully see more of it because we've still got like 6 months until the game comes out. It's gonna be a while. They've said early 2021, right? I don't know if they gave a specific date.
yeah, they said spring, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a while off. I'm saying 6 months. It's 6 months at the earliest.
Yeah, I mean, it could get pushed back again for all we know. Because a lot of games are getting pushed back and cancelled. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. We'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, I don't... Have we missed anything with New World? What else could we...
I I think that's most of the broader subjects.
Hmm. There's like we could get into a lot with it, I guess. Like we could go right from the start, go from there. But I feel like that's all I've got to say on it for now.
We
Have
talked
you?
about it a lot last night too.
Yeah. So have you been playing anything else this week, Tef?
No.
No.
No, it's not. Genuinely haven't.
No Tony Hawk. Nothing.
No, Tony Hawk. I'm holding back on that now until the new one comes
Oh.
out
Okay.
on Friday. Because
Surprising.
that, yeah. Well, I've got to play New World, and then as soon as New World ends, Tony Hawk comes out. So, woo, woo. And I don't know. I played a little bit of Ratchet and Clank before starting the stream today. Actually, I've just been in a big Ratchet and Clank mood. I think
Hmm.
this announcement of this new one, which I know we'll talk about a bit later,
Yeah.
um, that's got me in the mood for Ratchet and Clank. You just can't go wrong with it. It's a quality series.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've played anything else now. I think that might have been it for me. I've been on a New World binge. I don't know where I've been the last week or so. I just hopped in the game, and ever since then, time has just came to a halt, you know? And here I am on the
That was your
podcast.
life.
Yeah. I'm okay with
Well,
losing.
it's Monday.
Yeah, I'm okay with losing it all to New World because it's a good time.
Yeah,
But
it is. It definitely is.
yeah, I guess that is that for what we've played this week then. Do we want to take a quick 10-minute break and we'll come back with all the news, all the fun stuff?
Sounds good.
Alright, so don't go anywhere and we'll be back in 10 minutes or so. And we're back. So let's move on to what's been happening with the video games this week, shall we?
What's up with the videos? Tell me
But
about the videos.
well, let's talk about videos in a different sense as we talk about Netflix's Resident Evil.
Nice, nicely done. Do love a good segue.
Oh, I'm working on them. It's all part of podcasting. Gotta have just the smoothest segues.
We are skilled. What can I say? So yeah, Resi's getting a Netflix show.
Yeah.
The Witcher was successful, so I guess everything's getting one now.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't
Resident
complain.
Evil's it's not had the best track run when it comes to live action. So
Yeah, can't be worse than the films.
yeah,
Surely.
I mean, I'm not very infused when I saw the details about it. I don't know if you saw the details I
Mm,
sent you, but it was like it's looking at Wesker's daughters is the story,
yeah,
or Wesker's
it
daughter
seems.
and sibling, which well, maybe she's not Wesker's daughter, but one is definitely called like Jane Wesker or something, isn't it?
I think the official press release just said like the Wesker family, doesn't specify who they are. Everyone's assuming that they
Yeah,
are like Wesker's kids, but we don't know for certain. Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? I can't tell if it's in the if it's in like the normal Resi canon or whether this is like its own story.
this
It's
isn't
got a
in Resi
new
canon as
Raccoon
far as I
City in
know.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, New
Yeah.
Raccoon City, and there's also so part of it's gonna take place in the past when they're teenagers, and part of it is in a post-apocalyptic world afterwards.
Mm.
I noticed, and I don't know, I'm not that infused. After seeing the details, I was kind of excited. I was like, oh yeah, cool, this will be good. Maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll get to see some of the older characters come into play as well.
If it's post-apocalypse though, I think it's just running the risk of being too close to like The
Through the
Walking
film,
Dead and The Last of Us and all that
yeah,
stuff. Well, and the film, of course,
the
yeah, which
film,
does go full
yeah,
apocalypse. Like, because the games never actually go apocalyptic. Like, it's always contained, isn't it?
yeah.
Um,
Which
I'm just worried it'll be too much like the ground we've already tread with The Walking Dead.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not that interested now. It's like maybe if they did, I don't know, a series with the characters we know and love, it'd be good. I feel like they could
Mm.
have done something there, especially with the remakes being coming out and us getting to see all those characters again. You'd think putting these into a live adaptation would be a really good idea, but they're like, no, it's just Jane Wesker and Billy.
I'm kind of glad that they're safe. Honestly, I feel like they probably just screw up the main characters anyway. So
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, it's like it won't ruin Resident Evil for me if they make another live action. That's terrible.
Yeah, true. The campiness is part of the charm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all part of the fun with Resi. You know, you win some, you lose some with Resident Evil. So
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know, we'll see. Like, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. It's a Netflix original, which some of them are
they can
good.
go either way.
Yeah, some of them are good, some of them aren't.
Hmm
But
Well,
yeah,
it's got to live up to The Witcher as well, which has been, really successful. So
yeah, The Witcher's a hard one to beat as well because that's done really
yeah,
well. And I think most people love that series now. Everyone what's the actor's name? I forgot his name for some reason.
I've got no idea.
The guy that plays Geralt. He plays Superman as well.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, yeah. Everyone loves Henry Cavill as well now. Just Henry Cavill is all over the internet. There's just stories about him being a PC gamer after that as well, going around. And it was like his Henry Cavill building a PC and stuff. Which was really,
What a lad.
yeah, he was. Well, everyone just loves Henry Cavill. I don't know how you can top that, especially. I don't know, like a Resident Evil live action. I don't know. It'll be a fun watch or not. We'll see. Or maybe it'll be a fun thing to, watch with your friends and be like, yeah, this is terrible.
Definitely. It'll be fun either way. It might be good, might be hilariously bad, but you laugh, won't it?
Yeah.
That's why you've got to look at these things with video game adaptations.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all we can really say on it, right? Not much detail
Yeah, I
out
think
about
so.
it.
Yeah, it's all
Another
been
Resident
kept
Evil
very
live
vague.
action. But moving on. Shall we talk a little bit about Cold War? Call of Duty Cold War.
Cold War. Mason! Mason!
The numbers.
Mason's back! What do the numbers mean?
The
I'm actually kind of so glad. I know it's really sad, but I've got this like because this game's going to be like a direct sequel to Black Ops One. I've got this. I feel this need to play it because that was the last COD that I played. So I feel
Yeah, it's
like if I
my
just pick
last
it
Call of
up,
Duty as well.
there you go. It'll be like nothing. It'll be like the last 10 years just didn't happen. We can just pick up where we left off. Be great.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way they announced this was really cool. They've definitely taken a leaf out of like Fortnite's book on this, and they did like a whole in-game event for Warzone, which we had this like little trail that you had
Mm.
to follow, and eventually, I think at the very end of it, you found Woods, one of the characters from Black Ops, and you interact with him, and then it cuts to a bunch of old like war propaganda or something, doesn't it? And
I
then
didn't see any of this honestly.
so yeah, so this was all within Warzone, and it cuts to a
That's
bunch of
really
like
cool.
war propaganda and stuff that keeps popping up on your screen, talking about like the Cold War and stuff. And you then get dropped into a new area, and it says it's like you will not survive, and it's like you have to run to this arena on one side of the map, and you just have to run as you're running. This whole thing's playing about the Cold War just over the screen every now and then. It keeps flashing up with stuff. And then you
That's
eventually,
cool.
and when you finally arrive at the arena, it cuts to black and then plays the Cold War trailer.
That's really cool.
So it was a really cool way of doing it, and this is something that Fortnite's done in-game events like this before. Well, they've not really dropped like a whole trailer for a new game, but it was really cool to see the marketing team pick up on this because I think this is a really cool way to market the game. But yeah,
Definitely. Really cool. Yeah. And it's going to
so
link into Warzone as it goes on, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
they mentioned that they're going to have like linked rewards and a linked progression system. So
and
that's
there's a whole
cool.
new map as
Oh, oh,
well.
s- oh, is there? I didn't even notice that. So are they
Yeah,
gonna like gonna scrap the current map and replace it then,
I think
or
that might be a rotation or something.
oh, that'll be
Maybe
good.
you can,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
because there was like flashes at the very end of multiplayer, and it looked like they were all in this like desert or sandy area, and I think that was related to Warzone. But other than that, it was you just had Reagan talking to
Good
the
old
team.
Reagan, main
It was
character in this game. He is.
I mean, we very well might have him in a zombies mode.
Oh man, zombie Reagan, sign me up.
He might be
I'm
one of the people
actually
you get to play as.
I'm genuinely tempted to pick this up. It's the first COD I've had even a slight interest in like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I might pick it up myself. I'm still yet to try Warzone, mostly because
Mm,
we were talking about maybe trying it, and then we remembered how many gigabytes worth of data that's gonna take up.
yeah, you ain't got the room for that, and quite frankly, I
No,
ain't got the time to download it, so
I mean I've got the time to download it now, but maybe not the room.
if only we could combine our
Yeah, if only we could combine our
force
powers.
flight sim.
Oh yeah, you cut out there as well as you were saying that.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
I could just uninstall Flight Sim 2020 and have enough room instantly because that's also 150 gig.
Oh
I've
wow.
played that once as well. I need to mess around with that more before I
Yeah,
uninstall it.
Flight Sim's a bizarre one from what I've heard because they just the way they've rendered in the world in that game. Because
Mm.
apparently Buckingham
Any
Palace is
algorithm
just a
boost.
it's a just a block of flats, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's constantly being updated though. I think give it a few months, and most places will look how they're meant to look. But a lot of it's been built with an algorithm. So yeah, there's a lot of stupid things like that. Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa is a like a perfectly round block of flats as well. Yeah, it's really weird.
I mean, yeah, there's that, and yeah, it's really I don't know, it's interesting. I want to see how that develops. I don't know. That's the only interesting part about the flight sim for me. Unless I had like an actual cockpit, like I've said this before when we were talking about it. If I had like a whole cockpit that I could sit in and play the game in, I'd be down to play that game. Other than that, I'm not completely interested. But yeah, we were talking about Cold War, weren't we?
Yeah, I don't know how
I
we
don't know
got
how
here
we got to
really.
flight sim actually. But yeah, it was really interesting. I thought the marketing was really good. Seen a lot of good marketing lately for games. For that, Fall
Yeah,
Guys. I mean, Cyberpunk has been that's eventually coming out one day. Just waiting for
definitely at
that.
the top of the game.
Yeah,
It's like good old Cyberpunk. One day, John, you'll get it.
I'll get it one day. I'll probably need a new PC before that, though. To be fair, but yeah.
Probably will. Yeah. You built your last one for The Witcher, so it makes sense. Just every time Project
CD,
Red bring out a new
yeah,
you can just you can just upgrade them.
yeah. Because I think I did. I first get a PC around the time Witcher 2 came out. I feel like I first properly got a PC around the time Witcher 2 came out, and then I got one for Witcher
Yeah,
3.
it was roughly around the time that we got into PC gaming.
Yeah, because I had a laptop before that, but then I properly got a PC because I was into PC games. I just couldn't play the ones I wanted to. Then I got an upgrade. I
Mm.
got an upgrade. I got myself a big beefy PC. Played The Witcher 2 on that, and I was having a good time. Then The Witcher, yeah, it is just every time CD Projekt, whatever you're putting on next, send me a PC for it, please. Anytime you make a new game. But yeah, that is Cold War. So shall we talk a little bit about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2?
Yeah, because this is a strange situation, isn't it? So they fired
Yeah,
their lead. Uh, um,
yeah,
he's saying out of the blue as well. Like
yeah. Out of
he's
nowhere.
utterly shocked, apparently. So
He
yeah,
was
I
also
don't know
the
what to
main
make of
guy
this.
behind the original, so
Mm.
this is looking bad for Bloodlines. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it might. They obviously think it's a good move if they've decided to do it. And the game
Hmm.
has taken a while to come out, so maybe they think that he's just kind of pissing around too much. I'm assuming that's the
Yeah,
rationale
maybe.
here. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a case of that, but I don't know. It's one of those things where maybe it's not gonna feel like the original as much, which it's got like of course they're gonna modernize it in some senses, but maybe there's some RPG elements that like not a fan of or something. I don't know. Maybe they feel like it won't sell or something if it's got his touch. I don't know. It's really weird that it was just out of the blue and you got
Mm.
no warning about it.
Definitely. It's the whole thing is such a strange situation, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
because it's so late in development as well, because they've been
Yeah.
going at this for some time now. So surely, like kind of like Halo bringing in a new writer late in the stage. Surely it's too late
Mm.
for sweeping changes to happen. So it's probably still going to have his touch. Why even get rid of him at this point now?
I'm not even sure. This actually came just after they announced delays. So they announced delays before he got fired, as if they were already planning to do this, I imagine.
Yeah, that does make you suspect, doesn't it?
Mm. So
Strange situation. And
yeah,
he keeps just claiming that he's got no idea why. And that he just had no idea it was coming at all.
I mean, I guess we could, if we're gonna be cynical about it, we could say maybe he does know and he just doesn't want to say.
Yeah, yeah, but nah, I dunno, the way he's kicking up a fuss about it though makes me think that either he really doesn't know or he does
Yeah.
know, and for some reason he's making this decision to lie and make a big deal out of it. Because it's
Mm.
yeah, he's making a point too, because he kind of set up an interview with the Rock Paper Shotgun, it seems from this article, in order to sit down with
Yeah.
them and say, "I've got no idea why this happened." So I don't know. It seems
It's a
kind of
strange
premeditated in a
situation.
sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I hope Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 turns out to be good because I mean the first game is a cult classic. I feel like everyone's heard of it at least if you haven't played
Oh
it,
yeah, yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. I really like. I even mentioned how I was playing it a few weeks back, didn't I? So I dived back in to
Mm.
give it a go. So I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope whatever happened here, I don't know, is a good decision. I can't really say at this point. It does feel weird firing the lead, especially when he was the guy who made the original happen, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
But then, I mean, Vampire the Masquerade is a much bigger thing than just this one man anyway.
yeah,
You know,
it's
it's a
true.
pretty old RPG, isn't it? So I'm sure someone else would be able to pick it up and follow the same vibe, because it's not like it's his original vision or anything. Uh, yeah, it's strange. I do hope it's good, and I hope that they're not doing this in order to dumb it down. Because you did say that you were theorizing before that it might be that they think it's not going to sell well enough under his leadership,
Yeah.
and I hope they don't dumb it down as a result of this lead change.
That's my
That would be a
worry, that
shame.
they're gonna dumb it down. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, we'll have to see, honestly. That's another game that's been delayed. There's been a few. I think there's a few that I've not even put in the news list because there's just been a lot that's been like, hey, 2020 guys, listen, we've got to delay it, you know?
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? I think
It
we all,
does.
as soon as the lockdown happened, we all knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
But
it's a shame, but it is what it is.
so it is what it is, and
But yeah,
so yeah.
while they kick out a lead dev, Microsoft have went ahead and brought in a new dev, an old Halo veteran to take on over for Infinite.
Yeah, so that's right. What's this? Oh, what's this guy's name again? Joseph Staten or Staten? Um, yeah,
Oh yeah,
he was.
I saw some people changing his name slightly and being like, I can't believe they brought this guy in to work on Halo.
I mean, I don't think anyone like it's not a name that jumps out to anyone. No one really knew
No.
who he was as like a big name beforehand. But if you look into him, he was like the director of, I think it's like director of cinematography or something, for like the original three Halos, and he basically he was writing the dialogue, and he was writing the scripts. So he's definitely had a big impact on the earlier
Mm.
games, and hopefully he'll kind of bring it back to the earlier style, because definitely the way the characters interact with each other has definitely changed a lot since the Bungie days.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're making an effort to bring it back to the way it used to be, which I think is good. A good writer is definitely what 343 needs, because they've
Especially after 5.
really made a yeah, oh, yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, 4 and 5, but especially 5, they kind of do feel a bit like just fanfics.
Yeah, that is what the whole of 343 sort of feels like. It feels like here's all this extended lore and stuff, and here's where we think the chief's gonna go, guys. Him and
Mhm.
Cortana, get together in the end. I don't know. They've really pushed the whole like love story side of stuff with that in the N4, if I remember.
Yeah, they did, yeah, and
Yeah,
it was bad. Like, and okay, it was there before,
yeah,
but I feel like if you make it a main plot thread, it really brings to light how cringy the whole thing is. Um, at least with Bungie, you could kind of when Bungie were just lightly hinting at it, you could assume that it was just a purely platonic sort of thing, or kind of like a mother-son relationship, since Cortana is essentially the same
yeah.
person
I'll
who like
see. Yeah,
brought him up. So, but yeah, then they made it this weird romance, and it's just embarrassing.
and I feel
Yeah.
like Ziff would probably he'd probably be a good one to talk on about this because he's all about the Halo lore. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's a giant
He
Halo
would
nerd,
rant. Boy, would he rant about all that. He's
and
done it
I
before in the podcast.
yeah. I feel like he mentioned he didn't mind Halo 4 that much though, but which I didn't, but I don't know. It was also just it didn't really feel like Halo. It
No, it
had
didn't.
elements of it, but it didn't grip me in the same way. And the multiplayer being
I never
what it
finished it.
was didn't help. So
Yeah, multiplayer was poor, wasn't it? It was really bad. Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't even finish it. I plan to when it comes out for MCC. I'm going to play it through, probably with Ziff, so he can explain the lore to me. Because I think one of the problems with four as well was the way it relied on you having read the books. You
yeah,
needed
it
to
did
know the
pull on the
extended
extended lore.
universe.
Yeah,
It pulled on it too much, definitely. I'm hoping that that bringing back this Joseph Staten might fix that a little bit for Infinite, because hopefully he can simplify the writing. I mean, because the original games had this wonderful way of linking everything to the extended universe, and they'd make lots of references to the extended universe, but it was never necessary to know any of that stuff in
mm.
order to understand what was happening at any given moment. And it was the perfect balance. And I'm hoping they can bring that back, because I didn't know what was going on in four most of the time.
Yeah. One of the worries is I think a lot of what happens in Infinite is very closely related to Halo Wars 2, which I've not
Hmm.
played. But I've heard there's
Yeah,
characters from it that are moving over to Halo Infinite. Like the one of the bad guys is in Infinite as
yeah,
well.
yeah. The
So
whole faction is from Wars Halo Wars 2, isn't it? The
yeah.
whole enemy faction.
So I'm not sure how they'll like tie that together, or if they'll just be like, well, just play Halo Wars 2. I don't know if they'll.
Mm.
That feels like a hard one to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I hope they throw something in to give you a bit of background to it if you haven't played before.
Mm.
Because yeah, they can't expect you to play a spin-off game to understand the story in a mainline title. That would just be ridiculous. And yes, that's exactly what the sort of thing that Halo would do. Halo's getting dangerously close to Kingdom Hearts territory with in terms of lore complexity these days.
Oh,
And that I feel like if they did do that, they did expect you to play Halo Wars 2, then we would officially be firmly in Kingdom Hearts territory, and you don't want to be there.
yeah. I mean, everyone's like, I don't know. I don't know how people are just that into Kingdom Hearts anymore. There's too much Kingdom Hearts. Like I saw a
Way
Twitter
too much.
post earlier today with like 4 pictures. It was like one of them has to go. One of them was Cloud. One of them was Sora, and the other one was like Kratos and Dante. And I feel like everyone I saw was just like, all right, Sora, out you go. hand over your Keyblade and get out.
It's beyond help now, sadly, which is a shame because the first game was great. But I just kind
Yeah.
of lost it after that.
Yeah, I heard the third game wasn't great either when that came out. Even though I made a
Mm,
video on the third game, which, technically, but I didn't play.
technically,
But yeah. How did we get to Kingdom Hearts? Hold on, let me backtrack.
uh, we were talking
Halo
about
was,
how
yeah,
overly complex Halo is. Yeah.
yeah. It's I feel like 343's done that, but I feel like they probably could easily pull that back on track if they wanted to.
Hmm. Hopefully now they've got a competent writer on board. Let's hope so.
Yeah, and they've got it delayed as well, so give them
Mm,
more
true.
time to improve the writing, the visuals, everyone has a problem with so far, and I hope the multiplayer is good in it as well. I don't know, we'll see.
Well, the multiplayer was apparently very good in five. That was the one thing they nailed. It's kind of they went any other direction. Like four had an awful multiplayer, but a relatively good campaign for a 343 game, and then five had the opposite problem.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The way Halo Infinite is going, it looks like it's gonna be like the campaign looks like it's gonna be quite open. You know, it feels like a
Mm,
bit more of an open world in a sense, but I feel like it's gonna
yeah.
be contained within a mission, I imagine, but it's just gonna be very big.
Yeah, yeah. Which Halo's always kind of done that anyway, and it's played with the idea of a semi-open world since like way back in the ODST days. So it does fit in with Halo's kind of whole philosophy anyway.
Yeah.
I can see it work, and I think this might be a rare example of a good idea by 343.
Mm. Like if they could pull off, um, like I really wish ODST would have stuck with the like when you first land in that drop pod and you're first just in the city.
Hmm.
I really wish it would have stuck with that. Like you're alone and it's like dark and you're going around. I hope it does something
Yeah,
similar to that in a sense because it looks like you've just crashed. Like I don't know what point in the campaign this is, but you just crash landed with the one guy and maybe you got to work on multiple things in the area to get to the next mission or whatever. Stuff like that would be interesting.
definitely. No, I think you're right. If they can pull off the same style as ODST, then they'll be onto a winner in my mind. But yeah, I think is that all we can really say on Halo? I mean, I could talk about Halo forever,
I
as you
mean, we
well know,
could.
but
I feel like that's all we need to say, though, isn't it? It's probably a
yeah,
good
pretty
thing.
much.
Hopefully, a good thing.
Mm,
While the Vampire the
hopefully,
Masquerade things is hopefully a good thing. I don't know. We're seeing two different,
yeah, yeah. It's funny.
yeah, like two opposite
Sorry. Um,
directions with the games, but
yeah, but ultimately the same end goal.
hopefully.
Um, and yeah, hopefully anyway. Yeah. So
But shall we
yeah.
talk? Shall we move on to the fight that hasn't finished yet? We'll
Nicely
talk
done. Oh, you are getting good at this. You are
talk
getting good.
talk about Apple vs Epic. It's still going. It continues.
Mm,
But
it continues.
who will finish the fight? So there was the whole Apple trying to get the all the developer tools banned off their platform or essentially taken off their platform, which would have hurt a lot of developers because this would have included the Unreal Engine, which is massive and it's used by a lot of indie developers. It's a very common tool to use because it's so easy to use, I suppose. From what I understand, you've got like the Unreal store and stuff where they can pull assets off as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes indie development very easy, and Apple were just like, okay, you're gonna do this, Epic, fine, no developer tools. But luckily, the judge immediately ruled that out and was like, no, you can't do that, guys. And
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
yeah,
Utterly ridiculous. It's not even. Can I just want to point out as well? It's not just indie games that would be affected. Like
oh yeah,
triple
yeah,
A
yeah,
games
AAA
use
games as
Unreal
well.
Engine. Everyone uses Unreal. Uh,
I just
yeah.
gave the example of
Good
Unreal
crap.
because that's gonna hurt. They're gonna hurt the most indie devs
Mm,
if it's an indie dev, yeah. But
yeah, definitely.
there was also the Epic being like, well, can we keep Fortnite on the store? And the judge was like, no, guys, threw that out immediately. Which of course, Apple immediately jumped on the PR wagon to be like, well, I mean, it looks like you guys are in the wrong. Which I did say they do immediately after, but
Yeah, you did, and it's such a scummy move though because that is not at all the point of what's happened here. It's not what it's about. These like these rulings before the trial goes ahead. The whole point of them is to make sure that no one gets unjustly hurt before there's time for the court case to actually be sorted out, which is will probably take years.
hmm,
And the judge only stepped in because Apple was basically trying to punish other parts of Epic that didn't have anything to do with what was
yeah,
going on, and we're essentially punishing most of the gaming industry, and that wasn't fair. And they were stepping in because Apple were being scumbags, and now scummy Apple lawyers are trying to twist this into something positive for them. It's it's vile, honestly. It really is.
it's
I guess that's lawyers, though, isn't it? That's their
yeah.
job.
I immediately saw this as like they're gonna take that as an opportunity, and sure
Mm.
enough, it was only like 30 minutes after that came out, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
very
it was,
quick.
yeah.
But
Thankfully, I don't think anyone's bought that shite because
I
it
mean,
blatantly is. Like, this is the fact that they were trying to take the Unreal Engine down. It's so petty, but even more so than that, the thing I don't understand about this whole situation is that Apple's just hurting itself in its confusion. It's bad enough that they've taken Fortnite down, really, because I don't think Apple haven't really considered the fact that iPhones are just, as far as kids are concerned, iPhones are going to become the phone that you can't play Fortnite on, and they're going to see a drop in
yeah,
sales from this without a doubt. But then on top of that, they were
unless
willing to just hmm?
unless
Unless
here's my theory. Apple are gonna
mm.
take iPhones that already have Fortnite installed on, and they're gonna sell them on eBay for a higher price. Just like we saw with PT getting sold on PlayStations. Apple are gonna be in on it. They're like over there,
It's
like
all a
we can profit on
conspiracy.
this. Hold on, tinfoil hat on.
Even though that makes no sense at all, but yeah, you believe that, pal.
Hey, that's a
No,
little
but
extra. People are actually selling it for a higher cost on eBay. I don't know if you've had a look, but there are
I mean,
Fortnite iPhones being sold.
that's really dumb because as soon as the next major Fortnite update comes out, you won't be able to play on your iPhone anyway. But
Yeah,
the whole Epic situation, the whole like Unreal Engine situation, rather, it's so stupid because Apple were willing to just cut off the entire Unreal Engine and just decimate all the games on
it was
because
just very
let's be
petty.
real, like let's be real, a huge chunk of the games on iOS will be Unreal Engine, and they'll just lose them. They won't be getting any more. Like it's just you're just hurting yourself in your confusion because one of the huge benefits of Unreal Engine and Unity, it's
Hmm.
those two big engines is you can build one game on one engine and then you can port it to everywhere with minimal effort. And if you can't port it to iOS, people just won't bother. And
Yeah,
it's Apple who'll lose out. And this pettiness, I don't think they're even considering how much it's going to screw themselves over. It seems stupid. Unless they're trying, it's become some sort of dick measuring contest where they're
oh, it
trying to
definitely
prove that.
is.
I think that yeah, I mean, yeah. But what I mean is specifically, I think they're kind of worried that Epic might think that they're too powerful for Apple to do anything about it, and Apple don't like that because it's Apple who are in a situation where they've got all the cards, and yeah, it's just descended into this super petty argument, and in my mind, like I don't think there's any true hero in this story,
No,
but Apple are making it very easy to hate them. They
yeah,
really are.
it's one of those things where it's like which conglomerate do I want to side with?
Mhm.
Who gets my
Definitely.
votes? But it's I even saw people being like, I just hope the courthouse just slides into the ocean along with them all. But it's I don't know. I honestly, it's one of those things where it's just a lot of executives in like most companies are just very petty, which is why I could just see them taking a massive loss just out of pure spite and pettiness. 'Cause it's a thing we've
Yeah, I
seen
could too, to be
before
fair.
with like I mean, Konami are very petty. Like we've seen what Konami did with like Kojima, and then all the stuff they did with their IPs.
Yeah, that's very true. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, and then Twitch have done petty stuff in the past as well, which is why I don't know. I've got no faith in Twitch either, but I'm still here. Just gotta complain about Twitch. Gotta get that in there. Tick the box.
Oh, I fucking hate Twitch. What a shit website.
Oh, I'm
I
never getting
genuinely.
partnered by Twitch, am I? Never getting that
I'm sorry,
tick.
Twitch. I love
I'm sorry. Jeff Bezos is my god, my lord and savior.
you.
Please give me partner. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's gonna be a long battle. Luckily, none of the other devs are gonna get hurt by it. For now, I don't know. There's probably gonna be other ways in which they get hurt, but we'll see what happens. The one thing to note is the whole 30% it's a standard cut for pretty much everywhere. Like even Steam takes a 30% cut, I believe, don't they?
Yeah, That's the thing that they're fighting against the standard as a whole. This isn't actually specifically
Mm,
about Apple, and that's why they hit out at Google at the same time. Epic are trying to lower this across the board.
yeah,
I'm not sure why. I guess maybe for the good PR. But they are trying to make it an industry standard because I know they want to lower it to like 12, don't they? Because I believe 12 is the percentage that they take from EGS.
yeah, it's something like that. But so I guess I feel like they've only really attacked Google and Apple with this. Like they could have even went they couldn't really do it for Steam because they don't hold a
Mm,
monopoly, so to speak. Even though they do own a
yeah,
big
that's the major
portion of the
difference.
market for PC gaming, I imagine. But
Yeah, I don't think Epic needs to do it with Steam though,
no,
because it's an open market on PC.
yeah,
Epic are doing just fine taking customers from Steam. I think. I mean,
they're doing a really
I've
good
never
job.
they are doing a really, really good job. Like I've never bought anything personally, but I can imagine a lot of people have because I actually went through my Epic library a couple of days ago, and I've only been collecting the free Epic games for this year. So what we're on 8 months now, and I've got nearly 70 games already.
Yeah,
So
it's like they've poured a lot of money into pulling in new customers.
yeah,
They've probably spent a lot of money on that just with the free games alone. But
definitely.
it's a good marketing decision, and they've got like the better cut for devs, and they're doing a really good job of being a lot better for I don't know, consumers and devs in general. But
Mm,
I mean, they still do the exclusive thing, which is bad for consumers. They've been having those like exclusive, Epic games where it's like, Epic gets it for the first 3 6 months, which I think is the
mm.
biggest thing people have an issue with when it comes to Epic. That was a big reason a lot
Yeah,
of people hated Epic for a while, which
yeah.
I feel like that's probably died down a bit now. There's probably still some people that are very upset about it,
I'm
which
not
I
sure
mean,
it's fair to hate on them for that anyway, honestly, because everyone does that.
it's still not good.
To single them out for it it doesn't seem fair. Like it's of course it's not good, but it's
Yeah.
also such a logical thing to do when you're trying to build a new platform.
Yeah, so I mean, again, if it like gives people better deals than Steam, like can't really argue against it. Especially when we just got
Yeah, yeah.
Hitman for free, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Hitman 1. I'm not gonna play it because I've decided I'm gonna do this thing where I wait for Hitman Season 3 and then just play them all in one go.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, Epic's been doing a really good job lately, and I think most people would probably want Epic to win when it comes to this. But it was but yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like which conglomerate, which big company do I want to win? I don't really want to side with either of them, but if I had to, it's probably Epic.
Hmm.
Epic are probably going to do the
Like I
most
said,
good.
I think, like I said before, Apple are just making it incredibly easy to hate them. So it's easy to take a side, but yeah, you are literally picking between two mega corporations. Then again, if it does create an industry standard that's lower, then it'll be the first decent thing that's happened for developers all year. So bring it on.
Yeah,
I say
especially after this year,
taking enough
devs could
shit.
use it.
Definitely, they've definitely taken enough shit this year.
Yeah, so I feel like that's all we can say on that. Shall we talk a little bit about Sony? This is
Sony, this is an odd one, I think,
it
that
is a really
you
odd
decided
one.
to throw it on. 'Cause it's not really news. It's just kind of confirmation of something that we already knew, I guess. But
Yeah, I thought we'd throw it in there. It's weird that it got confirmed by Ubisoft of all people.
of all people, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. And
but
it's still worth confirming, definitely.
yeah, so Ubisoft have confirmed for us. I don't know what the context for that was. I didn't properly read into it, but it was something to do with Ubisoft. But
So Ubisoft have an FAQ. Ubisoft's Australian website, for some reason, has an FAQ on there about transitioning, between PS4 titles to PS5 because there's been a bit of confusion about whether you can buy a PS4 title and it'll upgrade and stuff like that. Which
hmm,
I think it like it comes down to the publisher and what they want to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft have like put an FAQ together about that whole situation, and it's mentioned in there.
Okay, fair enough. It's always like another country off somewhere, isn't it? Like I guess
Mm,
Australia's still an English speaking country, but it's like it's usually a case of like it's Australia. It's not like anywhere in America where this gets leaked out typically.
mhm.
But yeah. So the PS5 is not going to be backwards compatible with PS3, PS2, or one, which I mean we kind of knew. I don't think
Yeah,
if, I don't
yeah.
think anyone thought you could put in a PS1 disc and be good.
Honestly, it's just who thought that? It just doesn't make any sense. With PS1, now they could they if they wanted to, they could easily emulate it and just have run an emulation off the disc. But they won't because they want you to buy it again through the
Yeah.
PSN store. Um, and
Yeah.
PS3, like we're never gonna get backwards compatibility with PS3. It's literally not possible. These people keep acting as if it's going to happen when it's been made very clear by Sony that it's literally not possible. Like the processor is a totally different architecture. You can't run a compatibility layer. You'd have to totally emulate a PS3, which is not an easy task.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get backwards compatibility with the PS4 for the
Mm,
PS5, but PS3 and 2 and 1 are out the window. That's not to say that they won't have some sort of system for maybe playing PS3 game. You might be able to buy them off the store. They might have some sort of, I don't know, retro store for like PS1 or 2 games. I feel like there's a big
never actually thought of it.
opportunity. I don't know
Yeah.
if the PS4 currently has one because I don't go on my PS4 that often.
Well, Sony have been kind of weird about this. On the PS3, you could buy loads of PS1 classics that were
Mm,
emulated PS1 games. Um, and then on the PS4, you could buy some emulated PS2 games. There weren't many that were released, but like Jack and Dexter was on there. All the PS2 era Rockstar games were on there, and a few
yeah.
kind of other random ones. But you couldn't get any PS1 games. So those PS1 games that you bought for your PS3 didn't carry over to the PS4. I thought that was strange. They've been weird about this.
Mm,
They've messed up their backwards compatibility for a while now, since about midway through. They used to be really good. They used to be the leaders in this until about midway through the PS3 era, and then it kind of fell apart. And now they're scrambling to put it all back together because it's such a huge selling point for the Xbox that they're suddenly trying to compete, and it's a mess, isn't it? They I imagine they probably will sell some PS1 and PS2 games. PS3 games are actually already covered because you can stream them from PS Now.
oh, there
That's
is PS now. That's
and
true.
yeah, yeah, and they've been pushing that as the way to play PS3 games for years now, anyway. And I doubt
Is
that's
the
going to change
isn't
anytime
the
soon.
PS2 games on PS now as well? Actually, I believe
Um,
the original
Only if
Shadow of the
they,
Colossus is on there, isn't it? But I don't know if that's
yeah,
also on.
uh,
Was that like a
no, but
HD re-release for the PS3?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It got a HD port to PS3.
okay, yeah, I thought that's what it was. I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah, so you can play Sly Cooper, Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, and Shadow of the Colossus, but that's only because they all got HD ports to PS3.
Yeah, okay. Because, but I mean, we'll see what they end up doing with that. Because I don't know. It is a thing. And while they're a little behind when it comes to backwards compatibility, they've also been a little behind when it comes to PC as well. But they've been looking into that a little more lately. Because Xbox have definitely been all over that. Considering, I mean, it's Microsoft, so they can very easily do that. But they have been looking into moving over some of their IPs to PC. Like we saw Horizon Zero Dawn is coming over to PC.
Mhm.
And in their quarterly meeting, they've actually been, I think one of the talking points was how they want to bring even more games over to PC and potentially expand their market over there. So
Mm.
that is an interesting thing to say. I really hope we do get a lot more PlayStation games on PC
Yes,
because, it's a good thing for us. We play on PC most of the
yes,
time.
it's certainly a very good thing for you. I've become sort of half and half now. I'm still a big fan of my console. Some games I think need a big couch and a big TV, but yeah, it's definitely good for people who are exclusively PC gamers. And I think it's a clever move too. They've obviously seen how well this is working out for Microsoft. And I think it's a kind of clever move to have. the games come out a couple of years after they come out on PlayStation. As if to go, here's what you're missing out on, guys. If you buy a PlayStation, you can get this sooner.
Mm.
That's wise. And it's obviously quite different from what Xbox are doing, where they're releasing simultaneously, but makes more sense from a marketing point of view, really.
Yeah. It'd just be nice to see more PlayStation games come on over. That's it for me. I just want more. I want to be able to play you know,
Ghost.
Ghost of Tsushima. If I can play Ghost of Tsushima on PC, that'd be great. I'd love a chance to go have a go at that. It'll be like playing a Ubisoft game without actually supporting Ubisoft in any way, because, as we know, Ubisoft are the worst, and they continue to be
Oh,
the
yes.
worst, especially with their latest trailer that they dropped for their mobile Tom Clancy game, I believe.
Oh man. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was Tom Clancy. This was a massive, massive misstep.
Yeah. There's no way they don't know what they're doing here. Like, this had to be
Mm.
reviewed and pushed through, and there's no way no one went, you know what, that's good, I like that. That'll work. No one will get upset about that one. But, to give some context here, they put out a trailer for another Tom Clancy game, and essentially the plot of the game is there's these, there's riots going on, and the riots are being manipulated by a group of people who, I forget what their name is in the game or whatever, but
They're called Umbra. So I think,
Umbra.
I think the best way to make this point is to just quote what they say. And this Eurogamer article actually does it really well. So the group's called Umbra, and they're described as a faceless organization that wants to build a new world order um, at the cost of many innocent lives. So it's talking about this kind of underground Illuminati style terrorist
Yeah.
group that is slowly changing the public's perception of the world in order to fit what they want. Um, and well, Zan, you can tell us the main issue with that.
And,
Um,
well, I don't know, the symbol they decided to go with, for whatever reason, it was, I mean, it was a fist being raised up. It was a black fist getting raised up, which is also, weirdly, that's also the symbol for something that else is going on in the world right now, which,
mm,
yeah,
yes. So some people have argued that the black raised fist has been used
as like a
for
rebellion.
rebellion for like
Yeah.
50, 60, 70 years, which
But
fair enough, yes.
the timing is
Right
not good. Like, you don't
mhm.
do this right now.
Yeah, no, and this isn't an accident. I refuse to believe it is. Like,
No,
I
there's no
really don't
way.
think it is because obviously right now that symbol means Black Lives Matters,
Yeah.
and there's another line, another quote that I want to just draw attention to. It's this that makes me think that this is intentional. Um, so when they're describing Umbra in the trailer, it says they claim to promote an egalitarian utopia to gain popular support. Now, does that not sound like it was written by a MAGA-toting, gun-wielding lunatic? It really does.
It's
And
like, we try not to get political on this show, but like, then you put it not, and didn't they claim to not be a political video game? Didn't they like claim it's not political, guys? And then,
yeah, their response was, "We never aim to be political," but
yeah,
that seems too pointed. It cannot be an accident. I refuse to
no,
believe that that's an
no, it's
accident.
not.
It's
Like, even if it is an accident, there's no way you sit down, review this, and go, oh yeah, this seems fine. And today's in current today with everything going on in the world right now, this seems fine. Let's just throw this out, guys.
yeah, it's you're right. Like it will have had to pass through so many different people. Someone should have pointed this out.
Yeah,
And yeah, like politics aside, I don't really care about the politics. It's more that they're being so blatantly biased, and
yeah.
in typical Ubisoft fashion, they are being sleazy and denying it, and not just owning up to the mistake. Like they've apologized and removed it, but it doesn't feel like a real apology.
No, it feels like this is just like, you know what? They're like, any PR is good PR for this game. If that's what it
Mm.
feels like. It feels like they did this on purpose, and they were like, sorry guys, we didn't mean this. You know about the game though, don't you? You know about that game? It's on mobile.
Yeah. it's worked. I hadn't heard of it before.
Yeah,
It's a mobile-only Tom Clancy game. I'm definitely not gonna play it,
yeah,
but
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
about
play.
it now. It's worked. It's
I don't know. I just
worked.
like
So
I like getting any dig in at Ubisoft, and they just keep giving me stuff to just be like, why? Like it just seems really scummy.
hmm.
Which, I mean, it makes me question what other harassment's going on at Ubisoft right now. I don't know. But Ubisoft is just it's a mess, and you know, you should all go play Ghost of Tsushima instead of Assassin's Creed. But yeah, that's everything I can really say on Ubisoft. We are coming up on 2 hours, but there is a bit more we can talk about if you want to lead on that
Yeah,
one, Tiff.
right. I love that I'm leading this. I didn't even realize the Gamescom had happened, but
Yeah,
yeah, Gamescom happened.
Gamescom did
Um,
happen. We got Jeff Keighley
uh, Jeff
dropping world
Keighley, yeah.
premieres
I,
left
di-
and
I,
right.
I didn't even see this. I actually saw some of the trailers. Um, I saw a lot of things that were announced. I just didn't even realize they were part of Gamescom. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart got another gameplay trailer, which is pretty cool. I'm
Yeah.
always hyped for Ratchet and Clank. They're not quite as good as they used to be, but they're still really fun to play. And I'm down for more on the PS5 when that comes out. It looks good. It looks like more of the same with Ratchet and Clank. I, it's Ratchet and Clank. By this point, you're going to know whether you like it or not. I don't really have much to say on that. Um,
Mm.
there's Dragon Age 4. Um, I personally don't care. I've never been that big into BioWare games, but especially now that
Yeah,
that
I'm the
they've
same
kind
kind
of
of.
ruined their reputation. So not have we not really got much to say on that then? I can
Like
just move on. That's not
I
really
guess
our team.
like a lot of there was a lot like Inquisition. I was tempted to try Inquisition, but it felt like very much like an MMO. Like it was supposed to be an MMO. You know what I mean? A lot of from what I heard, a lot of the quests and stuff in the game, it just played like an MMO with some of the Dragon Age elements in there. So
Mm.
I'm hoping maybe Dragon Age 4 goes back to its roots, because I really enjoyed Dragon Age 1. Dragon Age 1 I put a lot of hours into that game. But other than that, I've not really played. Like Dragon Age 2 was, you know, wasn't great. And then we had Inquisition, which was, some people liked it, some people didn't. It was kind of a mixed thing, because again, I think the MMO side to it is what made me just be like, I don't really want to play this. It's not really for me. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
do something good with 4. Who knows?
I could never get into them, honestly. Any of the BioWare games. I just bounced off them. I tried really hard to like Mass Effect, and I just couldn't. I just
Yeah, I still maybe want to go back and try and play Mass Effect again. But I don't know. I could never get into the Mass Effect games either. I feel like, especially with like because I tried to get into them like as free released, and all the stuff, all the shenanigans that happened with free. You had like the
oh yeah,
pre-order
bad time.
DLC that had like one of the like, I forget what the name, one of the like really important lore aliens or whatever was like a DLC character that you got for pre-ordering. And then, you know, we had the multicolored ending. So
Yeah, bad time to come into the series, definitely.
yeah. And then Andromeda came out,
Uh,
which was very mediocre as well, from what I understand.
yeah, great. What else? I mean, a lot happened. I don't want to really go over all of it.
Yeah, a lot of it
There
wasn't
was
too interesting. It was a lot of just more gameplay trailers for stuff we've already seen.
yeah, there was like WoW Shadowlands, which is like cool, but it was
It was a
not
cool
we haven't
trailer.
already seen.
I mean, we
Like
got
yeah,
to
just a
see,
cool kind of mostly cinematic trailer, wasn't it?
yeah, we got to see Ufa and Arthas in that one. So, which implies Arthas is probably going to be in the Shadowlands. He gets dropped into the
Mm.
Maw at the end.
Turn of the King.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that was cool to see. But
Yeah.
other than that, we had like maybe 1 or 2 games that were actual fresh IPs. Like we had Unknown 9 something. It had a really weird name. Again, I just keep forgetting it. I need to pull up the list so I can look at it myself. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
I'm still not sure what this one is exactly.
We just got like a very cinematic trailer for it, and it showed off it showed off just it was this like I think it was just this girl getting chased by some kids, and there was a kid with a stick that tried to hit her, and then as the kid goes to hit her with the stick, she ends up in a different dimension or something, and the stick goes through her, and then she just steps to the side and cuts back to the other dimension. She just stares down the kids like, "I'm gonna mess you all up," and that's the trailer. Which
I mean,
doesn't say a lot about the game, but it's interesting.
no.
It's cool to see new IP. Just
Yeah,
don't know what it is.
there were a couple of new IPs that I thought looked interesting. I'm especially intrigued by this co-op uh a co-op adventure RPG called Haven. That's going to be
Yeah,
a launch title for the Series X. It's not going to be exclusive though. It is going to come out on other platforms.
yeah. It's like about two
And
lovers or whatever, isn't it, on a planet? What I
yeah,
understand.
so it, it just yeah, it seems like I've never seen anything quite like it, and that's why it intrigues me. Like it's an RPG, and it's about this like couple. I think they're just trying to like survive and restore this like old forgotten planet.
Mm,
And it's got like turn-based RPG elements, which are fairly standard, but like everything that you do, um, relates back to the relationship between these two characters. And it showed that you can kind of wander around your home base, and you can grab a coffee, and the two characters will sit down and talk about the day, at the coffee table. um, and it's more just about writing. I've never seen anything quite like this. Where for starters, it looks like it's drawing from survival type games, but it's also got this RPG
yeah,
turn-based element, which I think is interesting. But then the way it's all about the relationship between these two characters as well, I really like that because I think there are games that have done that before.
yeah. Like
Not
there was that
many,
one
like
prison. What was the Prison Break one? You know the one. Do you know the one I'm
oh, I
talking
don't
about?
know.
But it's
Oh,
like there's one. I forget the dev. The dev. Um, no, my brain isn't working. But there's one like a
I
Prison Break. I think it might even be by the same devs that did Brothers. Brothers is another one that did something kind of like that, but it never had the.
yes, yeah, dude, yeah,
It never had that
and
like
even
it looks like this. It looks like it's co-op, so you need like another person to kind of have that the full feel of the game.
you'll seem that way, yeah, because it
Yeah,
just keep describing itself as a co-op adventure, which is a shame, but I guess that kind of fits in with the theming of it. But yeah, I was just thinking about even a game like Final Fantasy 15, where every mechanic is built around the relationship between the main characters, and that
yeah,
factors into like every mechanic in some way. And I think that's such a cool idea that hasn't been explored quite enough yet. So
yeah. Final Fantasy
um,
had some really cool moments. Like they did like the main group of characters in that game really well, where they all sit around the camp and like talk in between stuff. They did a lot in Final Fantasy 15 that was really cool, but unfortunately it got a little bit rushed at some point, which is my main problem with Final Fantasy 15. Even though I really enjoyed that game, it was a good time. I don't. Did you actually play that all the way through?
15,
Yeah,
no. I've tried to play it a few times. I always get to like roughly the same points, like towards the end of the open world section, then I just drop off. I can't get past that point. It seems.
yeah. It's a good time. It just again when it goes past like I think it's like chapter 7 or something. Whenever they get on like a train and it gets to like a point where it just becomes less open. It's just like this linear path at that point, and that's where it kind of falls off. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. That was my worry really with it, so I didn't carry on past that point.
yeah. Haven looks good.
Mm.
Other than that, I don't know if there was much else that was like a new IP or something we hadn't seen before. We saw.
Um, yeah, I don't know. There's
I th-
certainly a lot of things that I haven't seen before, but I don't know if they're actually first reveals. There was that Genshin Impact, which
was that the very
I
anime game?
mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, I mostly just love that game because the art style was fantastic. It's like some of the best cell shading I've ever seen.
Mm.
But gameplay wise, it looks. I mean, it doesn't show any gameplay in the trailer, and IGN just describes it as taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild. So that could mean a million things. Um,
Yeah, it could.
but what an art style, though. That's all I've got to say about that.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, again, I think I've seen a lot of these before. It's just we got season 2, Fall Guys sneak peek. There was the Sims 4 Star Wars expansion, which everyone had an uproar over recently. But other than that, there's not too new. Origami 2 reveal trailer. I'm pretty sure we'd seen Origami 2 before as well. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that is mostly it. Which is, I know it was cool. It was. There's a Tony Hawk trailer was on there as well for you, Tef.
What? Sorry.
There was a Tony Hawk trailer on there as well, or an interview of some kind. I
Oh, I
believe.
didn't see that. Oh, hello. Just gonna control left Tony Hawk because there's so much stuff here.
Yeah.
Oh right. Oh, that's cool. Oh, Downhill Jam. I'll have a look at that after the
that's
podcast.
one for you there. But
Oh, yes.
yeah, I think that is about it. That's all we can really talk about. So we're actually over the 2-hour mark now. So we can wrap it on up for the night. So, Tef, why don't you tell us all what you do, where you are, where can we find you on the interwebs?
I mean, I mostly sleep, but that's not on the interwebs. On the interwebs, I'm on Twitter. In theory, it's where I put tweets.
Bro.
But I've not been doing it that much recently. It's also in theory where I put my latest Medium articles, but I've been slacking on that a little bit too. I was meant to do it this week, but then I got a New World preview key, so I'm kind of now I'm being productive though. I'm writing an article about New World, but I can't finish it until the preview finishes because I want to have as much time with the game as I can before I write about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can go on there. You know, I ramble about games. I usually just kind of retweet nerdy stuff about games or comment on things ranting about games, which is, if you like me ranting on this podcast, then it's just more of that. So
It's about all we do
yeah,
on Twitter.
we love a good rant.
Yeah.
What about you, my man?
Well, I mean, you probably know me if you're here already, but if you don't, it's Zanrise on Twitch, Zanrise on YouTube, Zan Games on Twitter, and the real Zanrise on Instagram, and that's about all I do. Also, for those of you that don't know, this podcast is also available on Spotify and iTunes. So if you want to, listen to the audio experience, then you can do over there. But yeah, the bot is broken, unfortunately. So I can't drop all those links in chat. But that's fine. So yeah, thank you for joining me tonight, Tef. We'll be back next week with the 17th episode of the podcast. 17 weeks of this podcast. What more could you want in life, Probably a lot more. But yeah.
So much more. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just show up every week, drop a bunch of news that I found on Twitter, and we just ramble. But yeah, that's us done. So thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out and discussing along with us, and we will see you all next week. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.